Oh boy. Gosh. I'm really. Oh, Alexa, stop. Now I'm down to 27 minutes. Hmm. I'm gonna have to start racing stuff or actually type. I don't know. Oh well, 27 minutes is 27 minutes. I just wanted to say that that something big happened. I was at the Cleveland Institute of Art. I just watched The It Girl. We were all having a good time, and then I was watching The Seventh Samurai. And in the middle of the intermission, people started rustling and talking about something crazy that sounded like a joke. We thought someone was just pulling our legs, that the president had been shot in the ear. I mean, how preposterous is that? First of all, I'd like to say my heart goes out to the victims, the people that were wounded and shot. I really, and I agree that at least now that my face is on the internet, maybe my id doesn't agree with me, but my ego and my superego are going to say this because it has to be said. Things have gotten too crazy. We've got to tone it down. We got to quit calling each other names like fascist and communist and saying that one side's destroying America and letting illegal aliens in and calling people that skin is a little darker animals and subhuman. That's got to stop. Maybe we went a little bit too far with calling Donald Trump, saying he's ending democracy and he's Putin. Although I don't know, he is, but just for the sake of avoiding civil war, maybe everybody should just tone down the rhetoric. Now that said, because obviously things are just too crazy. What do you think about this? And I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying I'm just throwing it out here as a question. Does this thing, and I hate to sound paranoid and use the extreme left and extreme right paranoid terms, but does this seem false flag to you at all or staged? I mean, it was like the Gaza thing. I was thinking the IDF, the Israeli army's incompetent. They're not what they used to be. Bullshit. I mean, let's just leave who's right and who's wrong, because I don't think anybody's right and anybody's wrong. I think any side that attacks civilians and burns people or rapes them, kidnaps people, I think that's wrong. I guess war is really wrong, but when you attack civilians, that's just chicken shit. And then you use the excuse that, you know, you're the underdog. I mean, I was kind of buying that, but I'm kind of thinking now that was the excuse used for the Baader Meinhof gang, for the PLO, well, John Brown, although that I'm sympathetic to that. But a lot of causes that really turned out to be, oh, the Black Panthers, they started out good. Every cause that starts out good and then justifies violence, you realize the violence perverts the cause. It's hardly ever just, I mean, the French resistance, I mean, there are examples you can use where violence was absolutely necessary. But I think in most cases, in 99% of the times, violence is just to be avoided, you know. Like, for years, I expressed open sympathy for the Irish Republican Army. Well, I did more than just say it, and we'll leave it there. But I was very sympathetic to the IRA, and I'm not Catholic, and I'm not Irish. I just saw a big nation picking on a little nation. It just seemed so wrong. It's hard to even listen to some of the things that I used to say because it's just it makes you feel sick to even use any sort of justification for violence. They did the Belfast thing. It's just, unless your back is to the wall and it's just to save your life, violence isn't cool, man. Shooting people isn't cool, even if it's Donald Trump. Because you know what? This isn't going to help the cause. This is going to help Democrats. This isn't going to help democracy. It's going to do the exact opposite. And even if Trump was shot, there are Republicans like DeSantis and Pence that in some ways are worse. You know, they're going along with this now. Yeah, Trump is bad, but he's just one man. I mean, if they would have shot Hitler, would have they replaced him with somebody? I mean, everybody thought Lenin was bad, and they shot Lenin, and eventually he died early. And we got Trotsky. Well, Trotsky actually killed more people than Hitler. You think that sounds outrageous, but if, I study history. Leon Trotsky actually killed more people than Hitler. He did. If you take in all the famine and all the death that went on in the Civil War and the tactics that that man used during the war, he was he was helping the NKVD round people up, and everybody thought Trotsky was a good guy. Lenin was a bad guy. They got rid of Lenin. They probably thought, oh well, great. And what do we? They got Stalin. It wasn't until Khrushchev that they got someone that was, and then Gorbachev. But Khrushchev, I think he was the one that came out with the cult of personality and exposed the crimes of Stalin. But yeah, and that was what the crimes of the communists, and they used that was violent revolution. You try to give me an example of a violent revolution that worked. I mean, we had a sort of had a violent revolution in the United States. The French, yeah, the French. I mean, but that was a catastrophe, and inevitably it worked its way out eventually over the years. But usually, violent revolutions, at best, are like Pyrrhic victories. Eventually, they'll work out, but assassination, it's just morally wrong, and it's just to think of it on a purely transactional, benefit cost analysis. Just to coldly think of it in benefit cost analysis. Um, it's not gonna. It makes. I mean, Trump with fist bumping like that and everything, and his ear bleeding. It's gonna fire up his base. It makes him look like a hero. Now let's go back to what I was talking about before. Does anybody out there who might see this, who might feel like commenting, think that in any way, I'm not saying it was, but it just, in the back of my mind, I got to ask myself, this was such a coup for Trump, and he only lost a little bit of his ear. I feel bad for those people in the audience. But do you think Trump gives a shit about the people in the audience? He doesn't. He doesn't. And how incompetent did the Secret Service have to be to allow this to happen? It's like believing that the IDF is incompetent. They're not. You can say what you want about the Israelis and the Jews, but they are fine soldiers, and they've got a really, really scary army. You look at their record in the '56 war and the Six-Day War, even the Yom Kippur War, where they for a while they were on, things didn't look good for them. '48 war, they've been assailed by so many Arab nations that wanted to push them into the sea, and they prevailed. That's a good army. I mean, maybe it's just their spirit, because they haven't got any choice. They're just fighting for survival. And I'm not saying anything about because the Palestinians, they were pushed off their land. I'm going to stay away from that issue, because there's no way to win with that. You got two sides that want the same land, and they're killing each other, and that's been going on since time one. If you ever look at 2001: Space Odyssey, with the scene where the two monkey tribes are fighting over the water hole. What was that, a million years ago? That's all Gaza and is in Gaza is two tribes of monkeys fighting. I mean, and I'm not saying that Semites are. We're all monkeys. I'm a monkey. Look at this. Don't I look like a monkey to you? I look like a monkey to me. I feel like a monkey. I got diabetic skin. I'm scratching my head like a monkey. I wake up in the middle of the night groaning. Ooh, 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 ooh. So if anybody's a monkey, I am. But it's two tribes of angry monkeys fighting over a watering hole, just like the war in Yugoslavia was, the troubles in Northern Ireland. My ancestors, the Alsace-Lorraine, the Germans and the French, the Franco-Prussian War, they fought over that region for 500, 1,000 years. And I don't think they're fighting over it anymore, but it's the story of humanity, not just the story of the Jews and the Palestinians. But I'm telling you, that seems fishy to me, because it's just hard for me to believe that the Israelis could drop the ball like that, because they got a good army. But I don't know. Who am I? And this strikes me the same way. He got shot in the ear, and he did that fist bump. It looks like it was It looked like it was staged, like it was some kind of promo or something, like it was some kind of a photo op or something. I'm probably wrong, but does anybody else out there think that this seems a little fishy? It seems fishy. It's fishy. I'll say it's fishy.